I'm gonna scoot closer. Hi. Hi. Today, we're gonna talk about what I don't like about classes in college or high school, for that matter. One thing I have for sure noticed since the beginning of high school is the amount of complaining that happens from students during class. And I am not saying that I have never done this. I'm not saying that I have never complained in my entire life. I'm not saying that I have never complained about classes or teachers or homework in my entire life. But I am saying that I think this behavior needs to stop. Because I've noticed it a lot more in college. And if it starts in high school, it'll just compound and compound as each person in everyone's life always complains. And then everyone's like,
Oh, that's what people do. They always complain after class. Or during class, even.
and so everyone thinks that everyone does that, and then suddenly everyone's complaining about class or their professor or their teacher or other students in the class. So I think this needs to stop. And the reason that I was thinking of this today is because I was attending my Chinese class, and it wasn't a particularly amazing class. It wasn't the best class day we've had. It was also, seemed a bit long, but I liked the professor. I liked the class material, and I wanted to still enjoy my time. It was a class that I enjoy going to, and I feel like I learn a lot, and I perceive it like other students also enjoy that class to an extent. I don't always think every student is entirely prepared, but I always think in my head that it seems like they're enjoying it. It seems like, why take it if they're not enjoying it, Because it's a college where you can take whatever you want. So I was thinking,
Like maybe they're not fully prepared, but, it seems like they like it at least.
but as soon as the class finished, I think the professor had to leave to attend another class he was teaching at or something. Anyways, he rushed out of the classroom, probably for reasons unrelated. But one student noticed that he left, and that student was like,
Oh, like Professor bounced, and honestly, if I were teaching this class, I would want to get out of here too.
and other students were like,
Yeah, this class was so long, and I even came late, and it still felt like forever.
other students were like,
I was not prepared for this. I just made up my story on the spot. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
other students were like, basically insinuating that they hate this class, hate the assignment, hate the professor, disappointed, insinuating that the professor doesn't like us. One student was like,
I wish I could sleep during this class.
I thought it was an interesting class. It was interesting enough to the point where I didn't feel like I needed to sleep during it. I've never really felt like I needed to sleep during a class, except for, a few times when I actually was lacking in sleep. When the class initially ended, I felt pretty good about it. I felt like it was a productive class. It seemed kind of fun and interesting. We had to write a creative writing story in Chinese, It was fun. But as soon as I heard my fellow students complaining about the professor, about the class, about how they were so bored that they wanted to fall asleep, it ruined my mood.
It really did.
It made me feel bad for the professor. It made me frustrated with my students. It made me wonder whether the professor really was disappointed in us. It just started a spiral into negative emotions about this class that I didn't want because I liked this class. So, moral of the story is, please don't complain about your class or your professor immediately after that class or even during that class. I think it ruins the mood for everyone, and then suddenly everyone starts complaining, and then suddenly everyone hates that class. I think we need to start at least respecting the time that we have in that class and respecting the fact that we are in the presence of whatever we're complaining about. And so if you want to complain about it, sure, that's fine. You can complain about it to your mom, your dog, your grandma, your friends, whoever, but not immediately after the class where everyone else in that class can hear you. It's just not a fun vibe. And then so I left that class feeling like I was the only one who genuinely enjoys that class. I feel like that's the case, and I hope that it's not, because that would be sad. And if my peers don't enjoy it, it's hard to find new perspectives if the peers just don't try. So I hope that each of my 4 subscribers that are watching, 2 of which I know are myself. Please don't complain during or immediately after or before class. And I'll try my best not to do this too, because I am certainly not free of this quality, this fault. I'm not perfect. But I think we can all do our best to try to make the environments that we're in more uplifting. If we just complain about everything that we're currently in, it's hard to live in the moment, and it's hard to enjoy what you're actually doing. That is my 2 cents for today. I hope it was a productive thought, and I hope that it is useful and makes you and I hope that it makes you think, because there are many things to be negative about, but if we can find positivity in the smaller things, it's easier to find happiness in our day-to-day life. I'm such a great thinker. I don't know.